Right, so the inevitable obscenity that is reportedly costing up to £250 million, consisting of putting a crown on the head of a man who is already the king, who was asked, given the financial problems people across this country have during this cost of living crisis, if he would mind toning things down a little bit scale-wise, and refused, wanting the maximum amount of our money spent on him as possible, with as much pomp and ceremony as they can shoehorn in. All for a man who gets testy over a pen getting in his way before it explodes all over his sausage-shaped fingers. Yes, the coronation is taking place this coming weekend. I'm not sure all of you will have noticed. It's been rather low-key in the media, I'm sure you will agree. And there is hell up over it, let's be honest. Not least because of the latest whizz of an idea that somebody had, that at the given time we all stand up and shout out into the air our allegiance to Charles. They've done away with a little bit in the proceedings, where numerous members of the House of Lords normally got on their knees and swore allegiance. They've decided it would be a good idea instead to try and convince poverty-stricken, cost-of-living, crisis-suffering people up and down the country to pledge allegiance instead to a man with a multi-million-pound property empire, wearing a hat with enough baubles on it to put a significant dent in society's financial shortcomings, riding up in a gold-plated horsebox. And no, that wasn't a reference to Camilla when I wrote it, but now that I think about it, I just don't care. All to rock up to church to have said crown placed on his head by an Old Etonian wearing a mitre. I mean, come off it. This country is mad. In any other country with an elected head of state, that person would have to seek our allegiance, the allegiance of the people, to win their vote. But only in our regressive, centuries out of date system can the reverse be true, except possibly with the exception of North Korea. The royal family's reputation amongst the public, I think, is a poor one these days. And as much as people may have admired and even liked or respected the late Queen, a spoilt brat of a 70-year-old doesn't carry the same favour, and nor will he speak for a great many people about that. Celtic fans at the weekend's football told Charles he could shove his coronation up his arse in a way only a football chant can. People have demanded, as an incredibly wealthy man, that he pay for his own pantomime instead of charging it to the public purse. We complain like mad in this country about people who are perceived to be getting something for nothing after all. The whole Tory-driven shirkers versus workers mantra that came out, yet the biggest benefit scroungers in this country, this blasted family, just get more of our money thrown at them by the same people that call many of the rest of us spongers. Swearing allegiance to Charles means swearing it to all of his descendants and heirs, swearing it to his family. So sure, you can count the next generation amongst those people in the hope this charade continues for more generations to come. But when it also includes allegiance being sworn to a sweaty mate of Jeffrey Epstein too, you're souring the public mood even further. All of these people are in the position as well by pure virtue of their birth, for no other reason other than the fact that functionally their ancestors stole more land than ours did, and they're still on the take to this day. But we cannot afford this anymore. Not the state the country is in, a country now ruled over, in heavily inverted commas, largely by a powerless figurehead as he is. Charles is ornamental. He's the national equivalent of a garden gnome. And no, that wasn't a reference to his ears when I wrote it, but now I think about it, I still do not care. To pledge your allegiance is to extend your loyalty and your respect and to love your country. In that case, I would rather pledge my allegiance to the country directly, not this overprivileged balloon. I'll pledge my allegiance to the countryside, our watercourses, beautiful places before the Tories filled them with shit. Allegiance to our wildlife and our environment and the beauty of the country around us. I'll happily pledge my allegiance to Cornwall, to which end, but that's favouritism on my part. You'll have to forgive me for that one. But equally, I'd rather pledge my allegiance to the NHS and its doctors and its nurses who keep us well and save our lives and arguably perform the most important service to society of them all. The paramedics and the ambulance drivers stuck in stupid queues trying to offload patients before they die into hospital so they can get the treatment they need. I pledge my allegiance to them. I'd rather pledge it to teachers and to all of our emergency workers and to the trade unions looking after our rights at work, to the people who keep us on the road and able to get to and from work each day, driving buses or trains as they may do, to the people working in charities and food banks actually doing something useful to help those worst off in our society, allegiance to housing teams at local councils desperately trying to find new homes for people when there is never enough supply, or those operating shelters to ensure somebody isn't sleeping on the street tonight. I'd rather pledge allegiance to the people ensuring a kid that would otherwise have gone hungry today got a meal instead. We're getting a bank holiday for this sham, don't forget. That's a day off school for some kids, and that's a day they may not get a hot meal because of it. Because of the state this country is in, they and many more deserve our respect, deserve our support, and deserve our allegiance. They've earned it. If Charles wanted to prove himself worthy of allegiance, to demonstrate to us all that he's clued in, that he's a good king, a competent king in touch with the people king, then he'd have started by not even countenancing such a spectacle as this coronation right now. He'd be demanding the money being used to help the poor not be spent on a trashy show of wealth rubbed in all of our faces instead. But he hasn't. He's a poor king, because you can't buy morals or standards or empathy no matter how much wealth you have. What kind of man insists on taking hundreds of millions of pounds from his own people, in effect, to just have a big party celebrating himself, when he cannot possibly, not even him, not be aware of the people going cold and hungry out there in the country today? If anything, this demand for allegiance on the front pages of several right-wing royalist papers has backfired spectacularly, as it hardens people's resolve against this spectacle of abject pomposity and gratuitous spending of our money. This is, in a way, a repeat of the Clap for Nurses campaign, in that the minute they needed a pay rise, more money invested in the health service, suddenly the powers that be didn't want to know them anymore. Those in positions of power and privilege do not want to know. And now we're expected to clap functionally for the king, in effect. But I don't recognise any such authority in this man. I never got a say in putting him where he is, and I won't offer him my allegiance or my respect in any way, shape or form. He wants me to swear, then I'll tell him he can piss off. There's no place in a modern forward-thinking society for such an institution as this anymore, especially now with how the country has been run into the ground as it has, and Charles will only continue to demonstrate that. Stand as a figurehead for that decline, representing everything being denied so many others. He's lucky to be where he is. He is lucky to have what he's got. He is lucky, frankly, that this country hasn't reached for torches and pitchforks as yet, as all of us have had enough of earning our own poverty, whilst more gets lavished on those who with more than enough already. Get off your damn knees, people. He's getting millions whilst we get forced to food banks. The royal family as an institution doesn't bring us together anymore. It's a symbol of the inequality that sets the like of them and us apart. Think about it. Thanks for watching. If you appreciated this video, please do hit like and subscribe. Leave a comment and hit the notification bell too so you don't miss the next one. Also look out for me on social media and other interesting stuff by clicking on the Linktree link in the comments below. And I will see you next time. Cheers, folks.